9 o'clock, August 27th, 2024. Call the meeting to order. Beginning with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone. Regular meeting of the Pipestone County Commission. Attendants are Luke Johnson, Doug Nagel, Dan Wildermuth, myself, Dallas Roskamp, Steve Ewing, Pipestone County Commissioner, Carrie Menace, Pipestone County HR. We have an agenda before us. Is there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I have one at 10:45 for the scheduling of the home tax abatement. Amanda is out today, so I'll bring that forward.
Okay.
And just cross her out, put my name on there.
Mr. Chair, with that one change, I'll move the agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Carried. Move to the consent agenda. Approve the minutes of 8/13/24, 8/22/24. Approve commissioners' warrants. Approve auditors' warrants of 8/16/24, 8/22/24. Approve hospital warrants of $738,979.80.
Mr. Chair, I'd move for approval.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That carries. Mr. Nick Bergman. And Kyle's in attendance. Late. You have to do your own pledge of allegiance.
Morning.
Aye, Nick.
Morning, Nick.
All right, first up for me today would be a request for board action to set a bid opening for our 2024 box culvert contract number 2. I think there's a map, this request. One where they're at. One of them's on our County Road 25, that'd just be an extension of the culvert ahead of our grading job. I think this will have some benefits because then we can have the erosion stuff established there before we do our grading project, so. Next one, be just south of the hall. That's the one we got that 700,000 of special town bridge on, so. We definitely have to get that one let this year or that money goes away, so. And then, the last one is a culvert that getting in pretty poor condition up, south of Verdi, on our County Road 15, so.
Nick, you propose October 2nd at 10:30.
22nd, I believe.
22nd, thank you. Mr. Chair, I'll move that.
Thank you. Is there support for that?
I'll support.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That carried.
Well, lastly for me then would be my budget review. 2025 budget. You have my narrative.
Write a book?
Copies.
Not a narrative.
Okay,
No.
well, I'll just read off. I did like a little summary of what
You want me to copy it for you? Or
if
take just a minute. Won't take long.
What number are you guys on?
104.
104, thank you.
Well, I guess in the meantime, I can update you on the Stone Arch Bridge.
Yes.
they completed rebuilding the railings, so it's a nice milestone. Should know more this week on the concrete slab on top of it, and then they're gonna start peeling the road off soon and simultaneously retuck the underside, so it's coming together.
Good.
Long year out there, but nice to see it. Sure looks nice too, so.
It does. I stopped there
Yeah, okay.
Tuesday and looked at it.
Got a lot of nice equipment to help them do it. I can't imagine what it was like back in 1938. Guessing they didn't have the mini excavator back then to help lift the big stones, so. Yeah. All right, well, I'll kind of go down my narrative here. So my proposed levy for 2025 is $1,839,552. That represents a 22.3% increase over 2024. I know it sounds terrible, but if you remember, we cut out a grader last year and did some reserve spending to help with, we had a pretty terrible inflation year last year, so I had a decrease last year actually to help offset that. This proposed budget is only 7.2% over 2023, so if you were to cut that in half, we're talking like 3.6% over or per year over 2 years, so sounds a lot more reasonable when you look at it that way, but so some of the major things I have in here would be a shop addition. I put 150,000 in there this year. I know there was some talk in the Building and Grounds Committee about what the sheriff's office or reserves or whatever would be contributing, so I can adjust that accordingly, but I just put something in there now as a placeholder, so I also have in there a plow truck for 325,000. That include getting rid of our unit 11. That one's got some getting pretty high hours on it. It's over 10,000 hours now. I have a pickup for 40,000. I'd like to come back to that though. Skid steer trailer for 25,000. I'd like to purchase a pup trailer frame. If you recall, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, we had a pup tip over. It totaled the frame on it. We bought it back, salvaged what we could off it, and that included the box. The box is still in good shape, so now I'm thinking we'd like to buy a new frame for that box, and then we'd have essentially a new pup trailer again. So I budgeted for that. We have in here for a lawnmower. Put in here for a culvert jetter. I know some of these are mounted on trucks. We looked at those. Those are rather expensive. So I think we'd like to look into one that mounts on a trailer instead. And also I budgeted for the last portion of our GPS survey equipment. I did some last year too, so. Then circling back to that pickup, there's been some talk about the highway department requiring an old ambulance chassis. So if we would do that, I don't pick up, but we maybe want to use some of this budgeted money then to pulls off the back of that ambulance. I understand there needs to be some work done to the back of the cab to seal that up, and then we probably need to put a flatbed or something on there, so if that worked out for us, we would probably forego the pickup and just use those budgeted funds, some of them anyway, to get that ambulance kind of set up for what we could use it for.
Nick, also, you talked about a jetter, a trailer mounted jetter. Would you use that enough that you'd want that on a trailer all the time? Would you want to have it on a skid that you could put it up on the flatbed?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yes, I don't know.
How often you'd use that, if it's something you'd use? Just throwing that out for a thought.
Honestly, not to pick on Doug, but you could probably answer that better than me. How many culvert cleans would you say a year that we could use that on?
Thousands of culverts to clean, but manpower will be your.
Yeah, and time.
Mhm.
how many you'll get done with the
Yeah.
manpower you have.
Yeah.
In the summer, obviously you only can do it in the summer.
Right.
We,
Hard to say.
does this thing, fall at culverts too that are froze?
I,
You guys have some way to do that.
That's not, well, that'd be, some of them are
Steam.
steam powered, actually.
Yeah,
I don't
I
think
don't-
you're talking that, I don't think.
like if you could pump hot water through it somehow, but I don't know how we'd produce hot water on
Just the
site.
water pressure would maybe help, but
Well, yeah,
I think that's a different
Yeah.
thing.
yeah.
But anyway, Doug, do you think that it would be economical to have it on a skid, that you could set it on one of the trucks or on the flatbed, or you want to have a separate trailer for it?
Well, it depends on the trailer, you said, skid loader trailer, you
Yep.
do have a trailer now, but are you keeping that trailer or?
So we would probably mount this on that old trailer.
Well,
I see.
that's.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And the reason you're updating that trailer is just, weight rating on it. You need a heavier trailer.
Yeah, like right now, the one we use, it's really, really tight with our skid steer fitting on there. So this would probably be, we'd fit on there a little bit better, I guess.
It's rated heavy. The
Yeah.
one he has is heavy.
Yep.
We got the track skid steer.
No,
cleared out.
it fits.
It does.
It goes.
It does. It's tight, you know, like a different one, I'm sure would be better, but,
But anyway, just throwing out ideas and thought on that. So.
no, understood. I lost my train of thought here. Okay, I think that's all I had for major pieces of equipment. It's been talked about amongst our staff, but I haven't, I didn't put anything in the budget for these items, but I know we've talked about a skid steer mill. This budget doesn't include anything to upgrade or reconstruct our gravel roads. And it also doesn't include anything for overlays on straight county roads that aren't state aid funded. I'm planning on using the wheelage tax for that, so. So I didn't put anything in here to increase our reserves. This budget also includes the sharing of the sign tech with household hazardous waste and soil and water. And then I added a little chart at the bottom to show what our maintenance costs have been over the last 20 years, so. They kind of flatlined recently, which is nice, but you know, there's steady increase over time, so. That being said, I guess, any questions on any of the maybe more specific line items or?
Up to the side here, it says something about the addition at 500K.
Oh, yeah, that's what I estimated that at. I think we have 237 already, so, and then, you know, I put 150 in this year, so that'd put us to 380 or whatever, and then I don't know how much the plan was for the like sheriff's department or reserves to contribute, so that just kind of gives you an idea of what it's gonna cost and you know, like if reserves is putting more in, then I could drop down what I budgeted for it. It doesn't matter to me. I just put something in there now to.
And when is that anticipated to be done?
Well, we wanted to do it this year. There's a lot more to building something like that in Pipestone than what I thought there was. You know, we've done a couple outlying shops in smaller towns and they didn't need to be engineered and they didn't need a bunch of other things. So we're gonna have to go down the proper channels, I guess, for doing that. So we got the survey done a couple weeks ago. Then we found something off in it, so they had to fix something. So then we just got that back, but now we'll be submitting our variance to the city for the building of this. It's, I think, too close to the lot line, so we need a variance. So we'll get that submitted now, and then if that gets approved, then we'll take the next step. So.
I have a question, Nick. How many miles on the plow truck?
Don't recall right offhand. I think it was the hours that were
Concerned about.
concerning, if that's what you want to call it. I think that was a spray truck, so it doesn't have as many miles as, yeah, like, the miles aren't the concern, you know, it's a lot, it's the hours, so.
It'll be nice, so. Want to let us know on the
Yep,
miles?
I can do that.
And then, I see you don't have a grader in here, but last year you put off a grader.
Yep, it'll be next year. That's my plan,
Next
so, yep. Yep.
And I guess one more comment on the lawnmower. My opinion is that's not very many hours on a lawnmower, so
Okay,
I trade that.
Okay.
I have one real similar. It's got 100 and some. It has not given any trouble of any kind, so.
Okay.
Just something to think about before you make that move, I guess, but.
yep, so I have a somewhat similar one at home and that's got like 450, but, and mine's getting pretty rough, but I mow at my church cemetery for that, so that's a rough,
That's how they're
that's
taken
pretty
care
rough
of.
trade,
Yeah,
yeah,
a lot of-
correct, yeah, in use, so, yep. Nope, I will check on that, if we could delay that, you know, that's fine. Yep.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, add just a couple minor changes for next budget due to MCIT insurance changes, so nothing too great at all. In the highway administration, the workers' comp went up a whole $9 to $129 for on the highway admin side of it. And highway admin, the property and liability went up $1,000 from 45 to 46. And in the maintenance, 320, workers' comp went from 33,400 to 38,000. So I made that adjustment on there. And maintenance and shop workers' comp went from 2174 to 2553. And that, don't have to worry about trying to write those in there, anything like that. We can get those later if you want them, but. And in the construction account, the workers' comp went from 8676 to 9408, so minimal changes on that, so. But those just came in late last week, so I got them penciled in the book here. Not much is gonna change your budget by
Not on mine, no, that won't matter a lot.
that's pretty minor. I'm glad to see that we're not seeing large increases in these costs as well.
It's probably a kind of a minor one, but under drug and alcohol screening, that was raised, by 1,000 the way it looks, but if you're fully staffed, you probably are gonna do less of that, I would assume. But not a big,
Which one is that?
drug and alcohol screening, highway administration,
62,277.
62,77. You know, you got your random drug testing yet, but you wouldn't have any new, very few new hires probably. It was a thousand, you had 1,000 budgeted last year, but you used 1,700. But again, if you're fully staffed, you're not gonna be using near as much,
Oh,
but it's,
okay.
I mean, we're still only talking, you know, not a lot, but I'm just pointing that out.
You know, I did this budget months ago, so I'm guessing what I probably saw is I probably saw the actual use with 1770 and probably just rounded it up a little bit.
Yeah. And I was looking at 910 for
Yeah,
the year before where you were probably fully staffed. I suppose.
yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying, so,
Okay.
okay, I can adjust that, it probably has come up since the 23 actual, but I don't know what you, anybody got any thoughts on that? Is 1,500 a better?
Well, yeah, there's not a lot of room there, but I was just pointing it out.
No, that's fine, I can change that though, that's fine.
Because most of this isn't the random screening, it's the pre-employment screening.
This,
Yeah.
the 1,770.
Right.
But I'd say if they're,
And that
they're
makes
fully,
sense to me now
almost
that,
fully staffed here, then that would.
yeah. Yep.
1,500, is that okay, Nick?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think
All right, I'll make a note.
that's probably more accurate, so I'll,
Oh, one other one I had, Nick, just a couple up from that, professional services. I guess what is that? And it's been raised, it's not raised, it's the same as 24 budget, but you aren't using that much?
Okay, let me see if I got a note on that one.
6260.
So. Okay. Professionals. Okay, so with the new accountant, we have some things like some of these descriptions that look like the logical place for certain bills. And then when reading through the report, I would think, yep, that sounds right too. But then in going back and looking, like it perhaps used to be in a different account. For example, I think what happened on this one is professional services, I believe, is like when we send off a box culvert to get sized. So it's probably one of those things where stuff is getting put in the wrong account. Not that it's a big deal, but we just need to get more consistent. So, and that'll come with time. I'm not upset about it, but I believe that is why I left that one alone, because there's some sizings getting put in a different account, but I can check on that and get back to you. If that one goes down, another one may need to go up, maybe, we'll see, but it's kind of hard to tell on like the culvert sizing, because when we get, I don't plan to get this special town bridge funds every year because it's not a guarantee. So, but when we do get those, we might need to, we might have a bill like that that pops up. But I mean,
Which would that go into the highway administration? Would that be part of that or
yeah,
sizing? That'd be more construction or something?
I think that's what it is, but I'm going off memory. I
No,
don't
that's
have
fine.
any bill
I'm just,
copy
you know,
bills
just
here.
pointing out, you can check on it
Yeah,
when you get time and.
I'll check on that one
That's
too.
fine.
Yep.
And like in your construction account, 6260, you're at 35,000.
So
You have a
320.
big credit balance in 24, is that right? Page 114 is where I'm at.
You're talking for the 320, 6260 for 2023?
340, 340, 6260. That's your construction account.
I know it got cut off on that one, so I'd have to, I'll look at.
We can
that
go
one
through
too.
this offline too when we're
Yep,
chatting about it and working through the numbers with you. We can sit down. Do that.
okay. Okay. Yep, I'll follow up on that too.
Sounds good.
Any other questions on the administration account? Let's go to the highway, road and bridge maintenance account. How long has it been since we changed the aggregate gravel tax?
I don't know if that's ever changed.
I don't think it has.
We started that,
Isn't that
7 years, 8 years ago, we started that.
Oh, right.
As much gravel left the county this summer, you'd think you'd get more money than that for that.
there any fluctuation to that, or is it just, it's either it's implemented or it's not, right?
Well, it's not implemented if the gravel gets used in the county. But if it goes to Murray County, yeah,
Yep. If it,
there was a lot of gravel that left in the form of bituminous to Murray County this year.
oh, that. I don't know if that would be on here yet, though. This wasn't most of that.
This summer.
Yeah, end of June and into July.
Probably
That-
wasn't
that it
posted.
went out
This
of the
was
county?
printed April. This was printed August 5th, so it's possible that's not even showing
Oh,
up in
okay,
here
so the
yet.
one I have has months 1 through 6.
Yeah, through
So I must have printed off.
June. This was printed out.
Okay,
This had numbers through basically the end of July
right,
of
but
what we're looking at on ours.
don't they pay that quarterly?
Yes.
Yeah, we wouldn't see that until September, right?
Is that a voluntary payment or do we build them out or
Uh,
the honor system?
They'd have to turn in what they use, right?
Right. But there isn't really any audit for it, so in essence, it is kind of an honor system, is why I always understood it.
yeah, that's handled through the auditor's office, so I'm not really that up to speed on how that works. Amanda could probably better answer some of those details for you, but,
Steve is the man of the day, so Steve.
Don't have that information right. Check your
uh,
bills. You do see that the payments go out to the townships quarterly when the tickets come in from the taxes. Kyle Kerr is a little more up to speed on this than I am at this point. We can get with him too. Check with him on that. You think of increasing the tax?
I don't know if we can.
Oh.
I thought that was set in statute,
state?
what it is. Yeah, it's either implemented or not, and if it is implemented, this is what it is. That's how I understand it, but.
We could, take a look at the policy and see if what we can do to bolster the enforcement on.
That's something for us to do, not
Yeah.
Dick.
Yeah, look at the policy and put it on the agenda sometime to actually pull the policy out and look.
Yeah, I'll get with Amanda on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Kyle. So they.
'Cause I don't know if there's
Up to speed
really
on
a
that, too.
practical way to enforce it. You don't want to spend more money trying to enforce it than what you're gonna get back in on revenue. And I just don't know what the answer is.
Golden Bridge, anything other? Is this where the Stone Arch Bridge money is coming through in and out or
For which,
we aren't touching that?
Stone Arch Bridge, we have to float that and that's reimbursable through the state.
Which account does that show up in here or doesn't it show up on this at all? Or is it
That
just,
might be-
just an in and out?
That. Think that. Would have been under my. I don't think I brought my 2024 budget with my notes on it, but that would probably be bridge construction.
Bridge construction and not maintenance.
But the state aid town bridge fund,
I'm guessing that's 340, 66, 21.
page
That's-
115.
It's a big enough number to cover that.
Yeah. Yeah, if I had my cheat sheet from 2024, I could tell you exactly where I budgeted that, but I could follow up on that too.
Any other questions on the highway, road and bridge maintenance? Put a highway equipment, maintenance and shop.
The budget is actually proposed to be lower than 24's. There you go.
Or. For shop,
Maintenance and shop.
okay.
What number do you have for that?
330 account. Total budget of 746, 528 and 24's was 781, 085.
Okay. Is there anything that has to be adjusted in there if we build a new shop?
No, that's in my,
That's in under the different area.
yeah. That 150,000 is in there. If you wanted that number changed.
If you have a new shop, you're gonna need some new tools too, and cabinets and things like that. You know, that's a rounding error probably for
Yeah,
the shop's
I
construction.
mean, there's probably things like an air compressor, but I think we actually have that in reserves already from back in the nineties, if I remember right, so. There might be some things, but I'm not saying we'd necessarily have to
Doesn't
do
have to be a
everything
line
right away.
item. Doesn't have to be a line item.
Right, I guess I don't plan on moving like our shop over there,
Shop is a lot of mainly truck storage.
correct?
It's not, you know, there's a wash base, so you'd have a
Yep.
power washer.
Yeah, we want to put that in there and an air
But it's-
compressor.
As far as like mechanic tools and stuff, you know, that's all in the
That's-
main shop there.
Yeah.
They don't really have another set for.
Yeah, I guess I didn't plan on putting a second set of all that stuff in this shop,
So
so.
you're not replacing the shop, but you're an additional building.
Truck storage, wash area,
Fine truck,
sign truck,
yeah.
yeah, like our sign shop stuff that just move really on the other side of the wall.
It's more like a cold storage than a shop.
It's not cold.
No.
Yeah,
but
we'd want it warm to keep
But-
everything melted off, but, I'm not looking at, this to me isn't a replacement for our main
Okay.
shop. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that's what I was. Shop addition is called it here, so.
Guess if, something ever happened to our main shop, we could move things over here and operate out of there. Or, for as long as we'd have to, but I didn't plan on making a second shop if that
A
answers
shop,
your-
shop.
correct.
Anything else on maintenance and shop? Move on to highway, road and bridge construction. Any questions for Nick on that?
Nick, I see we got one line item, 5861, and that's, I assume surplus sales of supplies, equipment, surplus sales. Or is that like culverts and things like that that you resell? It's zeroed out.
Fifty-eight sixty under 340.
Yeah,
I think culvert sales is in a
Culverts.
different, like,
is it separate?
maybe.
So this is
a
surplus.
different Category, I believe.
We used to do fuel there. Other departments. But looks like back in 2016 that we changed something in 2016.
Are you running it through the maintenance account now? The 320 account?
Yes, that. I see I have some in maintenance and some in shop. But I have, yeah, I intentionally have zero.
If we do get put together a surplus auction sale of stuff, do you need to account that money coming back in, or that just goes into a general
Oh,
fund?
I see what you're saying. Boy, I wouldn't have much on there. We're talking,
It's trivial thing.
yeah, $1,000 type of thing maybe, so it
Trivial.
wouldn't amount to, it wouldn't really affect my overall.
And I know we talk, and again, you know, if you get together with Wayne and then also with.
Yep.
Pete,
Wayne stopped and asked me about that a while back, and I have one item for sure I'm ready to get rid of. It's a piece of survey equipment that needs a battery that I think would cost more than what the machine would bring, so I don't see any, we haven't used it as long as I've been here that I can remember, which has been 17 plus years or whatever, so. And then we have like a grill guard for the front of our lowboy truck. And the thing is so heavy now, we took it off and I don't know if I'd want to keep that. I'd probably see what Doug thinks about that on the side, you know.
Scrap iron,
Well, I was thinking we could maybe put it on the surplus auction. Someone might
Okay.
want it, but
but it'll go for.
it's just with that excavator, it's just so heavy now. We took it off, you know, save however many pounds and I don't see it going back on there, but someone might want it. So maybe it'd work out. But
And check with Pete at the hospital. I think he might have some stuff too. So you and Wayne just kind of coordinate with Pete as
Sure.
well too. Also came up the other day, and I don't know if it'd be feasible, but I know the city is in the same situation that we're at with their surplus stuff. They have to
Oh,
account for it as well too. So I don't know if it'd be worth reaching out to them. I know it's trivial thing, but if we just if all of us entities combine, we might actually have enough stuff to draw a crowd.
the other thing I planned on getting rid of is I planned on just taking some pictures of that Stone Arch Bridge. Well, not Stone Arch, but that metal truss bridge.
Oh,
I already have the pictures, but I thought we could post that too, and then we're not hauling that into town for the auction, but here's the pictures, this is what it looks like, this is where it's at, you know, and just get rid of that too, so. So those are the items I had, but they're not gonna amount to anything, so,
I have a guy that wants to know how much it weighs.
no idea.
Good question, huh?
If we had a payloader scale, we could maybe try to pick it up with that.
It's not worth the effort for that.
I think those were like $10,000 and like it went so much good, so we talked about it once, but we passed, so.
That's what you have a sale for.
Yep,
As is,
so,
where is.
so, yep, as is, where is, we're. If we got less than $1,000 for all of our stuff, I really wouldn't be surprised, so I can put something in there if you want, but
I just didn't know if it makes no difference to me, just if you
yeah,
needed.
I don't think it's messing with, I don't think it affects anything.
Sounds like you'll spend more to advertise it than you'll get from it.
It usually goes, but again, we got that problem. We got the stuff to get rid of it. It's the only way we can get rid of it.
And
is
pay an
through-
auctioneer.
Yep,
Right.
yep.
That's why, just the online thing, so you don't spend much to.
Yeah, let's just
Get
do
rid
it
of it.
online.
Yeah, the other option would be sealed bids, you know, you could put it in the newspaper and have it on our website and,
But the things you have aren't really sealed bid items.
right? I'm just saying if you want to keep your advertising cost
Right,
down.
but online, there's something cheap, I'm sure. All those state sites and
Yeah,
there's a lot of sites.
I've dealt with them, but I honestly don't remember what they charge. But
It might be a percentage, so you're not really putting out a lot of money, so.
right, I think it was a minimum base, like $50 or something, and then if you bring more than this dollar amount, then they get so much of it up to a certain amount, it's kind of,
It's like 30%, I think, last time we talked. At
I don't remember.
least you're rid of it then.
But again,
Right.
the things they have is pretty much just want to get rid of it. You're not looking to make money.
No, I just want it gone. We probably spend more time answering phone calls on that
Yeah.
Steel Truss Bridge than what we'd get out of it. You know, it'd be worth it, just have it gone so we don't have to answer questions. So,
Steve, do you think it would satisfy the public transparency of getting rid of our surplus stuff listed on the county's website? We advertise it on that ourselves, even though we might not have a lot of readership on it. At least it's been publicly advertised, and that way we'd be legally, that we'd be able to get rid of that stuff.
Are you gonna price it though, or what are you?
Are you talking about an auction that way?
No, just a list of items that
Yeah,
we've
but
got. and
you
we
gotta put it,
Put a price
you
on
gotta
it.
put it on an auction or
Yeah, because,
online or something,
Yeah.
right?
right.
You
Couldn't
can't just
set
put
one
it-
up.
Put it on.
You can't just put a price on.
Can't just
put
set
it
a
on-
price on it.
No. Idea would be list the stuff on the website that tracks them to the online auction site so they can make their bids on it that way.
Yeah.
Because we don't want it to go through the work of taking the bids and all that. And it's like,
We want to keep it as simple as we can, but still stay completely transparent
Right.
with it.
sounds good to me.
auction's a good transparent way to do it. And then we can just advertise in the paper, or advertise it on the website and do it that way. And check with the city too, but as far as having a public auction at the fairgrounds or something for this stuff and paying the auctioneer's fees and everything, we'll probably owe more money than would get.
And we did that, no, was that six years ago we did that? I don't think we
At
even
least.
paid for the auctioneer.
No,
Not for the piddly items that we
No.
have, that's not.
We sold a pickup once on there.
yeah, you've done that.
Any other questions for highway, road and bridge construction? We're getting to the end. My book is getting thinner. Non-departmental, whatever that means.
That's the short one. That's what that means.
Land rents is one of them.
Yep.
Internal county fees.
It's basically his tax one.
No, that's property taxes current.
Yeah, that's where you get your money in.
$55.90, that is gas and diesel sale to gas and diesel sale, fairground work, partial reimbursement for our sign tech. That's what that one is. So,
Intercounty fees for fuel.
You bid for fuel and it's delivered to you and they fill up there. Is that?
yep, that's that twice a year thing we do.
Yeah.
Where we lock in our price for 6 months. And then, the other departments come in and fill up and then we bill them every month, so.
Investment earnings, there's nothing budgeted.
Okay, so I could probably show that it's in there, but I could probably do a better job of showing it. So, I use that I just brought down, my, property taxes current 5,001 number.
Mhm.
So it's in there. I lumped it in there. But if you want that broke out, I can do that. That's not a problem.
Probably should be.
Okay, I can do that. So overall, that won't change anything, but
Oh,
I'll show it better, so.
should the land rent be higher based on the last 2 years?
Mm. Oh. Wonder if that was a typo. 30 instead of 30.
Wouldn't have went down, would have.
Wouldn't they?
No.
It does go down every year, cause we
Down?
mine out a little bit more gravel, so the acres go
Not
down.
very much, an
No.
acre or two,
We're talking less than $1,000 a year,
Yeah.
I would say.
but
so.
this is what, 9 grand?
Yeah. Yep, that doesn't look right to me, so, let's see.
What's included in miscellaneous revenue?
Miscellaneous stuff.
350, 58, 98.
Yeah,
Looks like I typed too long of a note and it cut the back side of it off, so I don't know. I don't know, but I have that written down, just not on something I can read right now, so.
that might be able to be an adjustment there based on the last couple of
Yep.
years.
Yep, yeah, looks like we've been coming in higher there, so, let me mark that one too.
Any other questions? Bart Kendall. Any other questions for Nick? Period. Thanks for wading through this with us.
No problem. So what I have marked for follow-up would be the miles on that plow truck. I only have the 10,000 hours listed. I'll get the miles. See if we can delay that lawnmower. Drug and alcohol screening, check on that. Professional services for admin and for construction. See where the Stone Arch Bridge is budgeted for. Take a look at investment earnings, land rent, and then the miscellaneous one.
Sounds good.
Anything else I missed? Or I should follow up on?
Oh, we're talking about that gravel tax too. We'll check on that, see where we're at on that going forward.
Yeah, I don't think I'd have.
I think he is.
No, you're not. That's the- Matt and
Well,
Matt
knock
and
it
Kyle
off.
are up to speed on that, so
Yep.
we'll get with those guys. Keep you in the loop with it too, so
Yeah.
you know what's going on, so.
Be good. All right, well.
Thanks,
We'll report
Nick.
back on that stuff.
She wanted his homework right. School started. School started.
School started.
Might as well get some too, huh?
Homework.
All right. Have a good day.
Thanks, Nick.
With the highway road closing coming up here real soon, you expect some more traffic on our county roads than
Yeah.
other than the.
Yep, they pay us for the extra traffic on our road. I reached out a long time ago and told them I was concerned about some of the local gravel roads around town.
Shortcuts.
Shortcuts, yeah, yeah, and they said that they would put dust control in their project for that. They didn't really outline a mechanism of how that gets done, but I mean, I brought it up, it's in writing, and they said they would add the dust control into the project for it. They probably need to see the need somehow versus somebody just telling them, oh, it's way worse, like, oh, well, yeah, we'll run right out and do that, you know, they probably don't need to see it for themselves, I
Yeah.
guess, but I did bring that up right away, so.
Good to just be aware, just a reminder that it's gonna happen, be aware, keep an eye on it and.
Yep. Nope, I expected it. That's what happened last time, so I was.
You should be able to see the cars from where they're working.
Yeah, it's close. Yeah, it is close.
Okay.
Let's go for a 10-minute recess till 10 o'clock. Thank you. We're back in session. We have the Pipestone Food Shelf, Christina Schultz and Roger Raschke. You want to come up, please? Come on, Roger. There's 2 chairs, no waiting.
Christina's the articulate one, so she.
We want to get you on camera though, so.
Before we start, Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to preface this by saying that Christine and Roger came down, contacted me, came down to my office. We talked a couple of weeks ago regarding the food shelf and issues they're having with finances and things like that. And I invited them to come to the board meeting, to talk about that and see about possibility of funding from the county for assistance to the food shelf. And they put together some good information for the board, and they enlightened me a lot as to how it works, and I appreciate that. And I hope they'll do the same for you guys too. And we'll see if it's something the board wishes to do or not, since this is budget time. I figured this was an appropriate time to have them come down and visit.
Okay. Welcome.
Yes, thank you for having us here today. Steve had said, we had reached out to him. We are looking at hard times in Pipestone County with finding funding for the food shelf. A lot of our donations have gone down. Most of our donations come from churches and outside sources. And as everyone's aware, if you go to a church, the members that are going to churches are starting to dwindle. So therefore, our finances are starting to dwindle as well. So we are trying to stay ahead and look into the future for the Pipestone County Food Shelf. So we reached out to see if the county would like to assist us with some financials. The amount that we came to an agreement with was $15,000 for the year. And that is roughly putting into how we would see it would be about 3 months worth of food. It costs us quite a bit to buy food now. Not even if we get our free food and that type of thing, it's costing us about $2,000 to $3,000 every 2 weeks to purchase food for the food shelf. I sent over some graphs for you guys to take a look at. If you guys have any questions about anything, no, but they are pretty well wrote out. I did have the questions that I had sent over. I don't know if Steve had given you those as well. If you had any questions for us, this is my first time coming before a board, so you just let me know what you need to know. Roger and I will do our best to answer the questions for you.
Christina, what they've got in their packet is that sheet you gave me there.
Okay.
And then also your statistics with your totals and stats. And then also the.
Oh, yes, our
from-
volunteerism.
Jill
Yep,
from ACE.
from
too.
ACE. Yep. I'll have Roger go over some of the numbers with the statistics, if that's okay, Roger.
Fine, whatever. I don't know what you want to do, whether you want to just ask some questions or how you want to do this.
I guess Roger, looking at the bar graph, the cost per pound has actually gone down. Is that because the total pounds have gone up? Is that why that?
Cost, you're looking at the cost per pound or?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think a lot of that's got to do with now, especially that we're in a new building, but even last year, because our volume of people has come up so much.
Yeah.
We needed food, and Second Harvest is promoting or pushing, if you want to call it that, more fresh fruits and vegetables. That's been an ongoing thing for probably about 8 years now, something like that. So because we're getting so many people in, we're starting to buy in bulk. We used to get things in banana boxes and gunny sacks, stuff like that. We're now getting it in totes, which comes in a 4x4 pallet and 4 feet high.
Yeah.
So the weight is going up considerably on that stuff. We're probably getting in every 2 weeks, probably about 3,000 to 4,000 pounds of fresh fruits and vegetables. The cost for that to us is a penny a pound.
Versus
So
processed
it's
food that costs
virtually
more than nearly as
non-existent.
much.
So it's driving down our overall cost per pound.
Yeah.
We actually have to pay some money for stuff. So that's the reason for that's dropping. But even at that, I'm pretty proud of the fact that that number is the lowest it's been in 5 years. So that's the reason that those costs are coming down. And then if you look at the cost per household, last year it dropped again because their cost of food per pound dropped. And typically a household of one person on an average, one individual is about 25 pounds of food. So if our cost per pound comes down, our cost per individual comes down. Our cost per household has gone up because the size of our households have gone up. Last year, our household size was 3.9 people per household. 5, 6 years ago, it was about 3. Reason for that is our demographics have changed. About the middle of last year, June, July of last year, our demographics switched. We were primarily Caucasian, about 55%, Hispanic, about 45%, roughly. About middle of last year, things flipped. Now we're at about 65 to 70% Hispanic, about 35% white. And then there's a smattering of Native Americans, there's some Black, and some Asian, Middle Eastern, but primarily the two primary ones are Hispanic and white. So the Hispanic population goes up. Their average family size is much larger than what our Caucasian population was. So things are going up. So we're reaching more people. Our costs are going up. I guess if we were actually in a business trying to make money, we'd be all rolling in bonuses, but that's not happening.
Just
Object would be to
clarification.
try to get things done, but I don't know how that's going to happen.
And just the terminology clarification on that. So if you've got one person living in a house by themselves, they're counted as an individual, not as a household.
I'm sorry.
If you've got one person living alone, are they counted as an individual or as a household?
They're counted as a household. And then
Okay,
they're also counted as an individual. Obviously, when we do our statistics, they're an individual. They're also a household.
so what's the distinction then between an individual and a household?
I'm sorry.
What's the distinction between an individual and a household?
Well, a household is a group of people or a person living in a residence
Okay,
with one, the easiest would be to say there's one or two wage earners and there's dependents, children or whatever in that household. So for you, for example, if it's just you and your wife at home, you would be a household.
right.
If Christina, if it's her and her husband and their 15 children, that would be a household.
But if it's one person living alone,
That's a household.
so what is an individual then?
An individual, when we,
Doesn't make any difference, Dan. If you multiply that times 3.3, he said it gets individual.
an individual, when we do our statistics at the end of the month, if we have 100 households, for example, and the average is 3.9 people, that would be 390 individuals.
Total people.
Individuals.
An individual is total people.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
So
Household is someone all live together. and
Right.
work together is what our
Mhm.
TPAP one.
So just to give you an example, I just looked yesterday. If since 2021 through June of this year, the food shelf has served just about 35,000 individuals. Okay,
Total persons.
and then when you look at the population of Pipestone County, it's what, 9,200 roughly? We're serving a lot of people.
And also you recently started to institute seniors on a day other than the large group. That sounds like that's been very successful as well too.
We do seniors on the Fridays following our deliveries.
Yeah.
So that we've always got fresh fruit and vegetables for them. Okay, So typically that would be the second and fourth Friday, depending on where that fourth Friday comes in, or fourth Thursday comes in.
And when people come in to pick up food, then I know you've got, allocated amount that they can have. Quite often people say, oh, I can't possibly use all of that, but they don't have to take all of it. They can just take what they need, right?
They do not. We strongly encourage, especially when we're training in, we have different churches that volunteer every Thursday. So when those church groups come in, I strongly encourage them not to take what you need, take what you can use. Because I want the shoppers that are coming into the food shelf to understand that this food costs us money to buy them. It's not all donated. Actually, donations of food is probably not that much. We wouldn't be open if that's the way it was. So I strongly encourage the shoppers to say, take what you can use. For the fresh fruits and vegetables, that is free to us. Like Roger said, it costs us a cent per pound. So we always tell them, take what you can use. And a lot of people fill a lot of that weight that we see at the end of the thing is actually fresh fruits and vegetables. Not too many food shelves around this area offer that variety. So I always chalk our success, if you want to call it that, to us offering those varieties for these people. A lot of people, you go to the food shelf, a lot of people have that in their head, what is on the shelf. If you come to the Pipestone County food shelf, we have a variety and a lot of people are very surprised. We've really noticed that with our senior days. That number keeps increasing a little bit all the time, but they come and they're like, well, we didn't realize that you offered this type of thing, and they like that variety. So we strive to offer what the community tells us, hey, we would really like to see this in there. So our ordering person, Carla, really does a great job at offering that variety for all of them.
And so that especially the fresh produce doesn't go to waste.
Correct.
You encourage
Correct.
them to take as much as they can use.
Yep.
So they don't take more than they can use, so it doesn't go to waste.
Correct. And I always tell people if they come to, they have to remember that fresh produce is actually, we're their second chance. We're the second chance place. So we have to go through that every week and make sure that it's feasible for us to offer to the shoppers that come into the food shelf. So there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. So.
When are you open? Every Thursday or second and?
We are
Thursday?
open every Thursday from 2 to 5. And we actually just implemented, I think it was 5 months ago, the Sign Up Genius. So now we are doing it by appointment, which we have seen. It's a learning curve for everybody in the community to figure out how to use that Sign Up Genius, but it is very easy. And so we go appointments from 2 to 4:30. And then if you are unable to make an appointment from 4:30 to 5, you're able to come in and we give you a number. And we hand out numbers until 5 o'clock. And that is our cutoff time, just because we could be there all night if we really wanted to. And our volunteers do have other things that they like to do at night. So we're trying to really hammer down on that. 5 o'clock is the end and try to get out of there by 5:30, 6 o'clock. And then the senior day is offered on the second and fourth Friday of every month.
Doug, you had something?
Yeah, just wondering, are all these individuals like from Pipestone County or from in-state that come in?
Majority, yes. Yes. This is a hard subject for us to talk about because there's nothing that we can do to change it. Minnesota's laws state that if someone comes into our food shelf, our form that they sign, the TFAP form is what it is, states at the bottom, are you a Minnesota resident? And then in parentheses, it states you standing in front of us today proves that you are in Minnesota
Not Minnesota.
or Minnesota.
It's the TFAP forms, which is TFAP is part of our agreement with Second Harvest. It's free food, basically. And the agreement, if you were in South Dakota, which is our primary source of out of county right now, if you're in South Dakota, their TFAP form states that you have to be a resident of South Dakota to get food at their food shelf. Minnesota's TFAP form says that you have to be in Minnesota when you're signing the form. And then they also admit the fact that you're standing in front of us right now proves you're in
So
Minnesota.
they can be a South Dakota resident.
So you could be
They can.
a resident of Indonesia. It doesn't make any difference.
And Roger has reached out to the correct people to say, can we change this wording? Because we don't need to feed everybody.
Can't feed
So
everybody.
everybody from everywhere. So he has taken the steps to take action on that for that wording. Maybe it was a oversight, or maybe it is something that the government wanted on that form. We're not sure. So we have, but as of now, a percentage, yes, does come from South Dakota.
You're looking for specifics?
No, I don't need numbers. I,
But
just
yes, we do have,
wondering, so
we have about 7 counties in South Dakota that we're
7 counties.
up as far as 80 miles away.
And we strongly encourage when they do, now with the Sign Up Genius, we kind of know when they're coming, because they have to fill out their address and give us all that information. So when they come, our check-in person does let them know, hey, there's a food shelf right close to you in South Dakota. Please do your best to go visit that. So that is the most that we can do legally.
Right.
We can't say no to them, but we do strongly encourage them to visit their food shelf in South Dakota.
And of course, they all plead ignorance to knowing that there's a. And just so you know, with
Yeah.
Pipestone County, we also serve about, including Pipestone, about 5 counties in Minnesota. We're serving 12 counties. Moody County in South Dakota would be the primary county, with Flandreau being the biggest draw. Second after that would be Lake, with Madison as our second largest draw in South Dakota. And then in Minnesota, it's kind of splattered all over Rock County, Lincoln, Lyon, Murray. We don't go any farther than Rock.
But obviously, like Lyon County would have a large food shelf, I would think,
Correct.
but there's still,
Yeah,
Coming
all the
down.
counties have food shelves in them.
They
They
do.
do. We strongly encourage them to go to that food
Are
shelf.
they-
Like
So
Murray,
are
Murray
they-
County's got 2, they got one in Slayton, they got one in.
are they, well, you don't know, maybe, are they doubling up or,
Well,
what's the reason or?
You kind of troubleshoot that type of a thing. So we do our best to redirect them to the food shelf that's in their county. Another thing that we think that really draws them to us is we do have a translator at our food shelf
Oh.
when you check in. So we do have someone that is bilingual. And sometimes it's a catch-22. We got it for Pipestone County because that was what we needed, because I don't speak Spanish. I took French. That was useless right now. So we do see, we have made it a very welcoming place. We're Minnesota nice. And sometimes I think that that is a precursor to what we're seeing for these numbers. But slowly but surely, we're starting to see a change in all of that.
Pipestone County has 2 food shelves also. They're a very active one in Edgerton.
Correct.
You mentioned your volunteers, and again, kudos to your volunteers. They do a great job. It appears like you've got good numbers. Could you elaborate on how many people you do have volunteering?
We've got about, well,
19.
as Christina said before, the churches do the work the distribution days. So they're the people that are the customer facing and take
Yeah,
folks now. We're asking for about 8 right now a week, because we have the ability to have people doing that work. And then as far as the back stuff, unloading trucks, stocking, restocking shelves, keeping the shelves stocked during the day, things like that. There's 15 to 20 people that are almost regulars that are there almost every,
almost like your core group.
Every third.
and they're there almost every week.
Yeah.
So we have a very, very loyal group of volunteers, and they
Very
do
much
an
appreciate
outstanding
it.
job.
They do a great job.
I don't know if any of you have been at the food shelf lately. I know Dan's been in there. And I know 2 years ago, Steve and I think Dallas and I think Luke worked the truck
Mhm.
when we were at the old.
They showed up for the presentation. I was the only one that stayed in the truck.
I invited you guys over. You unloaded the truck. The truck is different now. And where things go is different now.
Much
Our-
better, I would assume.
Well, we would like to think so. Our delivery right now runs about 19,000 pounds of food every 2 weeks. So we're looking at about 10 tons of food coming in off that truck every week. And we've got the warehouse now. We also have pellet racks to hold pallets for excess inventories. So if any of you guys want to come over and take a look what's happening on a delivery day, you're more than welcome. The next one is the 12th of September. And if you want to stop over around 11 o'clock and see what's going on, I invite you all over. I think it was, Del, I think you stayed almost the whole day.
Yeah, it was very good thing to do.
It's different now.
It's still a lot of hand labor though, you still have to,
Well, yeah, you got, we've probably got about 15 pallets now, 700 pounds or so a piece. But they all have to be broken apart and put someplace. There are some pellets that come in that don't really need much handling. Like if we get 2 totes of watermelon, they're just taken outside, put on the sidewalk, and people can take it when they leave. Last week, we got in a tote of sweet corn that just gets hauled in, and another tote of cantaloupe that just gets hauled in. So there's no handling physically really with that, but it's all the individual boxes and stuff that have to be broken out. And that can't get put right on the pallet rack.
are you still getting some baked goods from the local supermarkets?
We get 2 deliveries, one from Hanks and one from Cobert's.
Yeah.
They deliver to us. We anticipate when Quick Trip gets up and running. They are part of the food rescue program with Second Harvest.
Good.
So we're anticipating that we'll be getting food from them, but I think it's gonna be different than the grocery stores in town because I think we're gonna be looking at more deli and pre-prepared sandwiches and things like that that don't get sold that day, they go out the next day.
Sure.
So I think our mix is gonna change, which might mean I'm gonna need to get another curtain coolers for inventory, but
To keep it good
Keeping-
till Thursday.
Storage of the food is the hardest part. So
curtain coolers, even the little ones are pricey, so that's gonna be put on the shelf for a while. I'm looking at around $3,000-4,000 for that.
But you said the next delivery is September 12th, you said Thursday at 11 o'clock. We've got AMC policy conference that day, of course.
Right.
We'll be up in Alex that day.
I did have Roger, kind of give a projected forecast of what we were gonna see. So what we've already seen this year, and we've already seen a 23% increase from 2023 to this point in 2024. So we're just, someone had told me once that I hope I never have to utilize the food shelf, but thank goodness that it's here for us if I need it. And I hear that a lot, especially on Seniors Day. I don't need that much. I don't take what you can use. That is what we are here for. And going forward from this point forward, I want to continue to see the food shelf be that place where people can come if they need that help. A lot of people don't come in because they feel guilty coming in. I shouldn't have to do this. Well, we don't judge when you come in. We want you to come in, get what you can use, and be healthy, be happy. We want to help out those people that are in need right now, and the need is great. It's different faces every week. It's not the same faces every week. We see that constantly. It's different faces every that are coming into the food shelf. So
You use the term need and we all understand that, yes, with any type of program, there are abuses. But yet always that mentality is we'd much rather have it abused than anybody that truly needs it go without. So it's a reality that we have to work with. And I really appreciate your diligence in trying to keep it as pure as we can. But in essence, it boils down to, we don't want anybody going hungry for need. So
Correct.
I really applaud what you do.
And I think that shines through. We stick with the church's volunteering, and I'm active in St. James Lutheran Church, and it's always hard to get volunteers. We're a smaller church. It's harder. I have older volunteers. I always encourage the pastors to come, anyone, because that is where you do your broadcasting for your church. Hey, what church was serving today? Oh, they were really nice. Maybe I'll go. And, we are helping the community in that way too. Hopefully we get these people to go to your church, encourage them that we are good law-abiding citizens, and come and join us. So we do have a lot of people that are shoppers that volunteer, and sometimes after they volunteer, we can't get them to stop volunteering, which is a great problem. So we like that we are continually seeing that turnover where people, they come to volunteer, then they're a shopper, they're a volunteer, and we help them see that there's more that this community has to offer. So.
Anybody else have any questions, comments?
back to your specific dollar request then of 15,000, that would take almost, that would be 3 months worth of food.
Roughly, yes,
Okay.
yes.
And your other financial support is coming from Second Harvest and where else do you get the rest of your support? Or Second Harvest isn't financial, it's actual food
It's the
products.
food, yep.
Yeah.
Not really.
Not really.
Contributions. It's on your paper, Dan. Contributions, church contributions, grants.
I
other
see the
contributions.
expense, yeah.
Church contributions, I think on there was around 18.
Grants
Over
72. it
50%
says.
of it was grants. Now, part of those grants from last year, we got one grant specifically for new equipment. And all of that money hadn't been spent yet, so, actually, we got the money in 2023 and we hadn't spent it all. So we're spending some of it yet down after the first of this year. But, Second Harvest did have a couple of grants last year that we applied for and we received. Primarily the grants the biggest grants that we get are from, are through Hunger Solutions, which are state-sponsored grants. They're state of Minnesota grants administered through Hunger Solutions. And we apply through them. They determine who gets the money and whatever. So primarily our grants come some from Second Harvest, but primarily from if you want to call it the state of Minnesota, that are competitive. There's one non-competitive grant that we get based solely on our volume from year to year. And we're waiting for results of that now. We just applied for that a couple of weeks ago, but we have no control over that. That's a non-competitive. You just put down your name and address and how many people you serve, basically. But they've got all that data anyway. So, and we do get corporate donations that come in. A lot of stuff comes in through the cities. We had several large ones last year that came in, and then we've got one so far this year that we did apply for, and we did get a Cargill grant. So, but those sources are kind of drying up a little bit. We haven't really had any grant activity since December last year until about the 1st of August. And right now, for the last 3 or 4 months, we're running basically solely on reserves.
So your specific request for 15,000, and that's to kind of try to help supplement some of your other financial grants that you
Right.
had been getting that are starting to wane now. So if we were not able to give you financial support, what would that mean for the food shelf? You'd have less food to supply for our citizens.
Correct. And I just formed a grant writing committee. There's 4 of us on this committee, and we are searching for different avenues to get, again, grants. We're working this year. The food shelf, Roger had stated, since he's been on it, has never done like a donation or a fundraising. I'm the chairperson for fundraising, and fundraising is kind of hard to do because it's kind of happening all year round. So just kind of sitting back this year, seeing what everybody else kind of does and seeing if I can hop on that bandwagon with a few other things that Pipestone does already for fundraising. But that is another thing that takes volunteers, that takes a lot of lining things up. I am a volunteer myself. So it takes a lot of people to get those fundraisers up and off the ground. So sitting back this year, kind of watching and seeing what we can do. And hopefully next year we'll see a few more fundraisers. We do our annual March campaign that starts in March, for the whole month of March. All the churches kind of push for the March campaign. This year I went out and I put some posters up in the community so that more people in the community could be aware of it. Put a lot in the newspapers, trying to get people knowledgeable that we have a food shelf and this is what we do and this is what we need. Also kind of the purpose of this meeting here today too, even if it is denied, at least I'm here, I'm telling you that we're here and there's a need for those donations.
And I guess, Steve, the question that I've got for you then from a budget standpoint then, what line item would we take this money out of? Because this really isn't part of our social services or health and human services.
We can discuss that later, Dan. We can't promise the money today anyway.
Yep.
But we will consider it. We will put it on our schedule. I don't see any line for salaries here. You guys are both non-salaried.
We are.
Thank you for your work with.
All the positions at the food shelf are volunteer.
And that's not
Thank you.
necessarily the
Thank you.
case statewide.
Correct.
The only food shelves that I know in the area that have paid people are Marshall and Worthington that I know of right now.
Is that just lack of volunteers? Is that why they,
The bigger,
is it
big,
lack of volunteers is why they are paid?
We do
Or
not have a lot
or
of
is it just a
volunteers.
bigger?
No, the other cities,
Marshall and Worthington.
just their
Oh,
structure.
well, I think it was because of the size.
Oh,
The food shelf in Marshall is run by, what's the outfit that runs the transit and Pipestone?
UCAP.
oh,
They,
Oh,
then they're in
okay.
their building and everything, and it's their people. And I think that flows over, I shouldn't say that. And then in, Worthington, the largest one that was there, had one paid volunteer, and she'd been there for years. But they were a large food shelf. Probably running about 500 to 600 people or households a month. And then the new one that's going up in Worthington, which is basically a second harvest facility, but which will also be run out of Marshall with that outfit. They'll have a paid manager anyway.
Probably how many hours a week do you two put in combined?
Roger wins.
I have dropped way off because I don't do a lot of stuff. You know, we've got people that are doing the ordering, doing the warehousing, doing the inventorying, maintenance work, statistics reporting. There are people that do that. Now, I used to do all of that.
Right.
So my hours, I'm just there on Thursday. I might mess around a little bit in the evenings, looking at stuff on the internet.
But you still facilitate. You're-
About 9 hours, and I don't know what Christina does, but, you know, and then there are other people that are putting in, I've got 2 people that are putting in about, 50, 60 hours a month. We've got a lot of volunteers, you can tell from our.
I was gonna say that
Casey,
the sheet that Jill gave
got a
you,
lot
she
of people
tracks
putting in
them.
a lot of
Yeah,
hours.
yep.
But my time is, since it's been, what I used to do has been distributed. I've cut down what I'm doing.
And how many years you been doing this, Roger?
January 2012 I started. And it's just about time to stop.
Got great help too,
It's,
Christina. How
Sure.
long?
So I've been on the board for, this will be my 10th year. And yeah, I used to only do Thursdays and then, I really get along with Roger quite well. So I kind of like hanging out. I kind of like hanging out with him. So, the last couple of years, just kind of been trying to help him delegate out those different areas that let somebody else give it a try and let's see, because we all know that Roger's not gonna be here forever, so we might as well start figuring stuff out, so.
You also realize that you've got to fill his position on the Kiwanis board as well too.
He didn't tell me that yet. I'm not filling his shoes. I'm just here. I reached out to Steve, for this meeting and then I like having Roger with me because he is the one that knows all those back facts. He knows the history. 10 years seems like a long time, but it's just a minute amount of how long that Pipestone County Food Shelf has been in place.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And again, you're invited 2 weeks.
To
Well,
any day.
12th of September, you're all welcome.
Unfortunately, we have a conference that week, but
I realize that, just kind of giving you a little joke, but, anytime that you want to come over, come on over and deliveries are on the second and fourth Thursdays. Truck is usually there by 11 at the latest. Last week he was there at 9, so you never know, but, it's a busy time. The truck comes in, 10 tons of food gets dropped off, and it's all put away, put on the shelves. And the produce is out and we're ready to open at 2 o'clock. So it's a pretty efficient group of people.
it is.
Yeah.
And we appreciate your time.
Yes.
That, thank you.
Bill. Morning, Bill. Morning.
Well, I've got a server purchase I want to bring before you today. This is for a logging server for a SIM product. Kind of spelled it out in the board request here. What we're looking for is something with a great big hard drive and something that's gonna have be able to track all the event logs and all the rest of the logs we generate. The SIM product will let us organize and find correlations between types of events. SIM products have been around for quite a while. Some of them are actually very mature. And that's about as exciting as this gets for this. I got a couple different quotes. The one that I got from Morris that I'm not recommending has faster hard drives than what I think we need for this. It's a good quote and all but the one from Quisivity that we've done quite a bit of business with over the years. They just have better numbers.
Mr. Chair, I'm gonna make a motion for the server purchase of 871503, and just got to comment that we really do have to rely on Bill's expertise here to know what we need, so.
There's support for that motion?
Yes. Dan will second.
Is there any lag time or have you got it available?
It should come quickly. I'm thinking we'll have this in place within a month here.
Okay.
And we have funds in the budget for this expense,
Yes.
correct?
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Casey.
Morning.
Casey.
So Pipestone County's hazard mitigation plan is set to expire next year, so we are starting the process of updating that. And the hazard mitigation plan, having an active one is the major component in being able to add hazard mitigation funds. Like, for example, with the recent flooding, if, somebody wants to add more riprap or something around a culvert to help prevent washouts the next time it floods, that's what helps those additional pieces to try to prevent more damage, like buyouts and flood zones and things like that. So what Steve has here for signatures is a letter of commitment of funds, because there is federal funding that helps pay for this. And it says, the letter of commitment of funds, the county of Pipestone acknowledges that it's responsible for a maximum of 25% of all eligible project costs or in local matching funds to comply with grant cost share requirements. And then there is the resolution authorizing participation in the planning process and execution of a sub-grant agreement. And then I believe the last one is a standardized federal form thing that Pipestone County will comply with all of the specific acts and whatnot that is spelled out there.
Whatnot is a good description of it.
Yeah.
Sure, I have a question. This is not really like when there's flood damage, it's not the FEMA. When you actually have flood damage, this is for preventing future
Further damage. So like with the events that we just had and excuse me, the funding that we get for repairs that the townships and the county gets for repairs, that's to repair it back to the way it was.
Right.
The hazard mitigation grant program opens it up to additional funding to improve the way it was to try to prevent future.
And do we know if we have a need for this at the moment, or you, when things come up that you say, oh, we need to do this, then you use it, or is there a need right now? Or
I don't really know if there's a need right now. I think that's something FEMA, the people running around with FEMA, we just had a Zoom meeting last week. They should be contacting all the different jurisdictions over the course of the next couple of weeks because they kind of want to wrap up their prelim process
Yeah.
before harvest starts. And I would imagine that's something that will probably be discussed with each individual jurisdiction since, I mean, they know their area best. And I mean, if this culvert always seems to wash out, they need to put in a bigger culvert or need to use additional rock or something. I think that's something that they discuss with them, but that's something I can certainly check into.
oh, no, that's fine.
But to
You
be
didn't have-
eligible,
You didn't have a big list of.
I do not have a big list,
Yeah,
no.
okay.
But to be eligible for any of that, you have to have a valid hazard mitigation plan
Right.
in place. So, and they expire every 5 years, so.
You know, those signatures have to be done before they even
This is,
consider you.
this is basically to get the funding.
Just in case, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Chair, I'd move for approval.
Is there support for that?
I'll second.
Thank you. I don't think we'll be worried about the 25% of all eligible project costs. We end up
Maybe,
paying more than that anyway. Well,
depends how big it is.
you can always put more gravel down to clean the ditch or something.
But this is just for the planning process for the act.
Yeah.
Have,
They just want to make sure that you have some skin in the game too.
yep, exactly.
And that's,
Various meetings and whatnot. I mean, they've changed a few things since the last round and everything, but with all these meetings, that's where, I mean, everybody's time is worth something too, and we get to put that down for part of our match. You know, we have invested into the plan also, so it's not necessarily just a flat out, like we're paying into it.
In kind counts.
Yep,
I know Elmer Township has 3 or 4 roads that overtop every time you get a event, and some of that could be mitigated, you know, so it doesn't overtop next time. Either cleaning the ditch or put a bigger culvert in, or
exactly what it's for, so.
right now they just put more gravel back on it. That's,
And it keeps washing off.
keep washing on next time. But any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Carries. Anything else, Casey?
So keep an eye on your email for future meetings with it.
I'll get these signed and get them over to you.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Gary, you've been sitting there patiently. You have personnel. Those out. Some good news, I hope,
Maybe.
maybe.
Ish. There's a request for board action here that you guys need to disregard, so, he extended a contingent offer, contingent on your approval, for this gentleman to move over from Lyon County. And, he had a very specific number in mind, as well as he's accruing a lot of vacation because he's been there a long time, and, it sounds like we just can't come to an agreement, so we can disregard this.
Okay.
The opening for jailer dispatch that's coming in the next week. We have 5 candidates that have applied for that, and we're starting to schedule interviews. For the EMT position that's open, the full-time EMT, we have 2 internal candidates, and there will be more time as well, so we're going through the transparency and advertising in the papers and things, but we anticipate it's likely our candidates are working already in the department. The part-time highway accountant, she starts on Thursday. So you guys will hopefully run into her at some point. And, the highway engineering technician, that's what the the board request was for. We did have two strong candidates. Our second candidate has worked for the railroad in the past and isn't as experienced, but still could fill the role. So I'll catch up with Nick after this and we'll hopefully develop a plan.
And we need to take action on something?
Disregard the
Disregard
request,
that one, okay.
please.
So the search goes on for that. position.
Well, I think we have a secondary candidate
Okay.
who's hireable. Probably not, maybe can't do as many things.
Not
we
as much
kinda
experience
hope.
as this other gentleman.
Correct, but still is experienced and qualified. That's what I got.
Okay, thanks, Carrie. You- Who does the extension?
Us.
Steve.
Board members, remember at our budget meeting, Bonnie was in here and discussed the information. I know there was only three of you here at the time when we did. This was also discussed at the last regional meeting that we had over east. And they talked about this and brought it for us. So it should not be a surprise that this is the agreement for the next 3 years between the counties and the University of Minnesota Extension. And take a look, go to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, about fourth page in, you'll start to see where their program costs are. Exhibit A, they call it here, supported by the county. We support an extension educator, agriculture, natural resources person. Those are listed at a 0.4 FTE for the next 3 years. And the salary costs are listed there, 40, 41, 2 and 42, 4. And then we have our 1 FTE extension educator, 4-H youth development. And that's 100 for 25 and 103 for 26, 6 for 27. There are no administrative support costs in the contract here. Administrative support position is funded by the county. They also do have their staff members too, short-term temporaries. They have listing of funds there for temporary casual staff, ag and natural resources. Totally not more than 192 hours, and the costs are listed for that as well. And then staff 4-H youth development not to exceed 480, like their summer interns doing help for that, so they get paid too. And
Can I stop you a minute? Do
you
we
go
have,
right ahead, sir.
do we have people in these spots already?
Yes, yeah, these are not new positions. They're funding what we have now.
Okay. Do you
Brandy,
mind giving me names?
I can remember them. We have Brandy, Scott, and
The 4/10 position?
no, I think those,
4-H.
the 4-H educator is,
That's Brandy.
that's Brandy. And then
Oh.
the ag educator,
Sorry, but you
No,
on the spot.
He's from towards Sladen.
No, that's fine.
Rook, where's her last name?
what is it?
Rook is her last name, isn't it? Rook? Rook?
Melissa,
Melissa.
Melissa.
Yeah.
Rao.
Rouk or
Rao.
Rook?
Yeah, Melissa Rao, yes, okay. And then our staff that we pay for is Macy out at the
I
office.
see.
And then we do pay for a little bit of, no, we don't, not the food person. He works multiple counties too.
He's a grant or something.
Yeah, he's
isn't he?
grant funded. Yeah, but not through this, as I understand it. I wish Bonnie could be here, but so I'm kind of muddling my way through. Apologize for that, so.
It's pretty straightforward. It's just an extension of the existing agreement that we have. In fact, Mr. Chow, go ahead and move that we do enter into this agreement with U of M for extending this grant for the next 3 years.
Is there support for that?
Not grant, this agreement, I should say.
And second that. Second by Luke. Any other discussion? Sorry, I put you on the spot there, Steve.
Okay. Good for me, trying to get my brain working again.
I just wanted to know how busy Carrie was gonna be if she had to fill all these positions.
No.
Okay.
I'll have to add that they do a really good job.
Yes, they do.
They do. Very good.
And they like their new building, so.
That's part of it, yeah.
Just a reminder too, this is a statewide grant where they're doing this. This is not just the county. So this isn't all of them. The dollar amounts may change depending on where they're at, I believe, but this is what they're getting for what we're doing out of Pipestone County. It change. Other counties have more staff than we do, but this is for ours.
Okay, I'll call a question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carried. And you're taking the part of Amanda also?
One last thing I've got here, Mr. Chairman, is the schedule of home tax abatement public hearing for Brett and Kelly Cruz. I believe that's how it's pronounced. That's
Cruz
right,
or
Joe?
Cruzy, one or the
Cruz.
other. Cruz.
Kind of, I put it on here anyway, but things did work out. Chris did get the valuation done for this, estimated at 576,200 will be the valuation on it. Now you have the information in front of you. The only thing we have to do today is the board to schedule the required public hearing. And the recommendation is 10 a.m. September 24th, 2024, Commissioners Room for this. You have copies, just like I've done in the past. You have the application, which has been provided to the county. They also are requesting a tax abatement from the city of Edgerton as well.
Okay.
So, and then they put a little project summary in there. Our estimated project start date is October 1 of 25. It is a new build on an empty lot. The house is approximately 2,000 square feet with a finished basement and 3-stall garage. Jesse Post with Cornerstone Construction is the project manager. Estimated cost to build is $750,000. And then you do have some drawings in your packet if you wish to take a look at that. I do have a copy of the building permit from the city of Edgerton and also application for building and zoning permit as well. So they do have their permits in place with the city of Edgerton for this. So it would be appropriate to schedule the public hearing.
We scheduled the public hearing for 10 a.m. September 24th, 2024.
There a second for that? Second. Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Carried.
And this will be advertised in both the legal papers within the county because it's a public hearing for 2 consecutive weeks. So that's why we have to push it back to the 24th because we won't have time to get it ready for the 10th. Just the way it
That'll
falls together.
still be before their start date of October 1.
Yeah, correct.
Nobody's gonna be mad.
Nobody's gonna be mad. Well, I shouldn't say that.
Not at us, not at us. Any other business coming before this board? Next meeting is 9/10, regular board meeting. And we're gonna finish up some budget stuff at that meeting too.
Yes, I have 3 more come in for the budget meeting on the 10th. And actually 4. We'll have Susan Hoskins from the museum, Jody Wacker from the library, and Amanda from the auditor treasurer's office, and also Demaine as well. Demaine was unable to attend our meeting last week.
Right.
And also today he couldn't make it because of one of their kids to college.
Okay. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there support? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. We stand adjourned.
53. All right.